Good afternoon, this is Dr. Do again. This video is outside of medicine. I have a couple other streams of videos outside of medicine. For example, reading about the Bible, important figures, important people in the Bible, start from Abraham and Jacob and Joseph and David, for example. And also reading Psalms, and also the cultural Beijing Opera, introduce the Beijing Opera to you. And today's video, I just like to talk some about the history of China. Personally, I like to read history. I am not good at remember things, but I like to read books. And there are a lot of important people in the history, either as a form of a culture, like Dao, Lao Tzu, Confucian, these people, or some political people established the nations, the countries, and expand them, and until today. So this video is really kind of to introduce and some of the important people. I'll start from the beginning. From what I know, archaeology proved that China started from middle of Yellow River. The primate was identified in the, I think it's in Henan province. One of them is called the Lantian primate, and the other is in Beijing. There's a Chokotian, it's a small village near Beijing, Hebei province. So these two original place for that country to start. And then later on, in terms of the dynasties, the starting dynasty, I think from the written record, is the Xia dynasty is the first one, and then Zhou. So the Xia dynasty is really, from my understanding, is a kind of a tribe. The leader was very brave to take. So in Xia dynasty, the leader was not like current. Everybody tried to be a leader. At that time, nobody wanted because it's so harsh condition. And in Xia dynasty, there's some important leaders like Yu, for example. Yu is the figure has well known to the country because there's he was the one to battle the flood, because the Yellow River was kind of that's where they start. So the flood covered the earth, and so then he led the people to battle the Yellow River and the Yangtze River. So that's the very important leader in Xia dynasty. And later on, I think after his effort and also his descendant, the Xia dynasty was kind of getting the leader, the role of leader start to taken as benefits. So then there's some people rebelling to Xia and his family. And I think they escaped and changed name and hidden, and then turn out after the Xia dynasty was the Shang. Shang was a lot. There were a lot of stories about Shang dynasty, which means the dynasty was not good. The leader was just vicious, no moral standard, and there are a lot of novels or legend about them eating humans, so just the monsters. So this dynasty lasts very short. After that, it's really very well written dynasty start from Zhou dynasty. This is still during the BC time. So then start from Zhou dynasty. There are a lot of stories about the first emperor of Zhou. How did he start? How did he use the power from the sky or heaven to overthrow the Shang dynasty and start from Zhou? After this, there's establishing the emperor. There are a lot of story about them. So after this Zhou dynasty, and then will be 5 small nations divided, called 5 nations, and then 7 nations, and then start Qin unite all the countries. So the Confucian, for example, the most famous people, Confucian, was in the the five nations period. So he started to had established the thought, the main theme of the culture, ethical, moral standard. So stop from there. And after him, there's some other important ethical principles to integrate into that. Start from there. So after that is the Qin dynasty. Qin dynasty established by Shi Huangdi, the first emperor of the country. That's called Shi Huangdi in Xi'an province. He in Shanxi province, which the capital is called Xi'an. He, according to the history, he was very cunning, ruthless, and especially his son. So only 2 generations, him and his son, very ruthless, ruled the country, and people were suffering. So a lot of rebellions, and the country became to be divided and chaotic again. And then started Han Dynasty. So the truly, really, I think the current modern country is from Han Dynasty. The founder of Han Dynasty is Liu's family. It's Bang Liu. A lot of story about him. There's a formal written history from that dynasty and passing on until today. And also there's some other legendary stories about him, how he established the Han Dynasty. I'm just going to talk about him first. He was born very poor country, in the poor country, poor lower class, and very poor, bottom of the bottom. He was handsome, was tall, and very kind. That's all about him. He's handsome, tall, very kind. So he did a lot of things, impressed people, but still people mocking at him, think he's just hopeless. Until he was very old, not in that time, get married to a very rich girl, the local leading people, rich people. And then he started to have established a career as a little small official in the town. And because there are a lot of rebellions, and that's the end of Qin Dynasty. The rules are very strict, so he was responsible for duty, lead some people to cross the states from one state to another, and then stopped by the weather, and he couldn't finish the job. And this event, he knew if he couldn't finish the job on time, the punishment will be he will die. Or he had the advisor around him said, why don't we just start from here to rebel, otherwise we'll die anyway. We have people here. So that's how he started to rebel and to fight. And it was a long journey, a lot of stories about that time. I'm going to continue next time. I'll stop here. Anyway, so this is Bang Liu. First name is Bang, B-A-N-G, last name is L-I-U. So that's the founding person, first emperor of Han Dynasty, and that's where the really started and streaming down to today as a Han. Okay, so I will stop here, and because it's a lot of story about him, probably take more than one video. I'm going to talk about him next time. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.